Ezekiel chapter 41. He brought me to the nave and measured the posts, 6 cubits wide on the one side, and 6 cubits wide on the other side, which was the width of the tent. The width of the entrance was 10 cubits, and the sides of the entrance were 5 cubits on the one side and 5 cubits on the other side. He measured its length, 40 cubits, and the width, 20 cubits. Then he went inward and measured each post of the entrance, 2 cubits, and the entrance 6 cubits, and the width of the entrance 7 cubits. He measured its length, 20 cubits, and the width, 20 cubits, before the nave. He said to me, "This is the most holy place." Then he measured the wall of the house, 6 cubits, and the width of every side room 4 cubits, all around the house on every side. The side rooms were in 3 stories, one over another, and 30 in each story. They entered into the wall which belonged to the house for the side rooms all around, that they might be supported and not penetrate the wall of the house. The side rooms were wider on the higher levels because the walls were narrower at the higher levels. Therefore the width of the house increased upward, and so one went up from the lowest level to the highest, through the middle level. I saw also that the house had a raised base all around. The foundations of the side rooms were a full reed of 6 great cubits. The thickness of the outer wall of the side rooms was 5 cubits. That which was left was the place of the side rooms that belonged to the house. Between the rooms was a width of 20 cubits around the house on every side. The doors of the side rooms were toward an open area that was left, one door toward the north and another door toward the south. The width of the open area was 5 cubits all around. The building that was before the separate place at the side toward the west was 70 cubits wide, and the wall of the building was 5 cubits thick all around, and its length 90 cubits. So he measured the temple 100 cubits long, and the separate place, and the building with its walls 100 cubits long, also the width of the face of the temple and of the separate place toward the east, 100 cubits. Measured the length of the building before the separate place which was at its back, and its galleries on the one side and on the other side, 100 cubits from the inner temple, and the porches of the court, the thresholds, and the closed windows, and the galleries around on their 3 stories, opposite the threshold, with wood ceilings all around, and from the ground up to the windows, now the windows were covered, to the space above the door, even to the inner house, and outside, and by all the wall all around, inside and outside, by measure. It was made with cherubim and palm trees. A palm tree was between cherub and cherub, and every cherub had 2 faces, so that there was the face of a man toward the palm tree on the one side, and the face of a young lion toward the palm tree on the other side. It was made like this through all the house all around. Cherubim and palm trees were made from the ground to above the door. The wall of the temple was like this. The doorposts of the nave were squared. As for the face of the nave, its appearance was as the appearance of the temple. The altar was of wood, 3 cubits high, and its length 2 cubits. Its corners, its base, and its walls were of wood. He said to me, "This is the table that is before Yahweh." The temple and the sanctuary had 2 doors. The doors had 2 leaves each, 2 turning leaves, 2 for the one door, and 2 leaves for the other. There were made on them, on the doors of the nave, cherubim and palm trees, like those made on the walls. There was a threshold of wood on the face of the porch outside. There were closed windows and palm trees on the one side, and on the other side, on the sides of the porch. This is how the side rooms of the temple and the thresholds were arranged. Ezekiel chapter 42. Then he brought me out into the outer court, the way toward the north. Then he brought me into the room that was opposite the separate place, and which was opposite the building toward the north. Facing the length of 100 cubits was the north door, and the width was 50 cubits. Opposite the 20 cubits which belonged to the inner court, and opposite the pavement which belonged to the outer court, was gallery against gallery in the 3 stories. Before the rooms was a walk of 10 cubits width inward, a way of 1 cubit, and their doors were toward the north. Now the upper rooms were shorter, for the galleries took away from these more than from the lower and the middle in the building. For they were in 3 stories, and they didn't have pillars as the pillars of the courts. Therefore the uppermost was set back more than the lowest, and the middle from the ground. The wall that was outside by the side of the rooms, toward the outer court before the rooms, was 50 cubits long. For the length of the rooms that were in the outer court was 50 cubits. Behold, those facing the temple were 100 cubits. From under these rooms was the entry on the east side, as one goes into them from the outer court. In the thickness of the wall of the court toward the east, before the separate place, and before the building there were rooms. The way before them was like the appearance of the rooms which were toward the north. Their length and width were the same. All their exits had the same arrangement and doors. Like the doors of the rooms that were toward the south was a door at the head of the way, even the way directly before the wall toward the east, as one enters into them. Then he said to me, "The north rooms and the south rooms, which are opposite the separate place, are the holy rooms, where the priests who are near to Yahweh shall eat the most holy things. There they shall lay the most holy things, with the meal offering, the sin offering, and the trespass offering, for the place is holy. When the priests enter in, then they shall not go out of the holy place into the outer court, until they lay their garments in which they minister there, for they are holy. Then they shall put on other garments, and shall approach that which is for the people." Now, when he had finished measuring the inner house, he brought me out by the way of the gate which faces toward the east, and measured it all around. He measured on the east side with the measuring reed 500 reeds, with the measuring reed all around. He measured on the north side 500 reeds with the measuring reed all around. He measured on the south side 500 reeds with the measuring reed. He turned about to the west side and measured 500 reeds with the measuring reed. He measured it on the 4 sides. It had a wall around it, the length 500 cubits, and the width 500 cubits, to make a separation between that which was holy and that which was common. Ezekiel chapter 43. Afterward he brought me to the gate, even the gate that looks toward the east. Behold, the glory of the God of Israel came from the way of the east. His voice was like the sound of many waters, and the earth was illuminated with his glory. It was like the appearance of the vision which I saw, even according to the vision that I saw when I came to destroy the city. And the visions were like the vision that I saw by the river Chebar, and I fell on my face. Yahweh's glory came into the house by the way of the gate which faces toward the east. The Spirit took me up and brought me into the inner court, and behold, Yahweh's glory filled the house. I heard one speaking to me out of the house, and a man stood by me. He said to me, "Son of man, this is the place of my throne, and the place of the soles of my feet, where I will dwell among the children of Israel forever. The house of Israel will no more defile my holy name, neither they nor their kings, by their prostitution, and by the dead bodies of their kings in their high places, in their setting of their threshold by my threshold, and their doorpost beside my doorpost. There was a wall between me and them, and they have defiled my holy name by their abominations which they have committed. Therefore I have consumed them in my anger. Now let them put away their prostitution, and the dead bodies of their kings far from me. Then I will dwell among them forever. You, Son of man, show the house to the house of Israel, that they may be ashamed of their iniquities, and let them measure the pattern. If they are ashamed of all that they have done, make known to them the form of the house, its fashion, its exits, its entrances, its structure, all its ordinances, all its forms, and all its laws, and write it in their sight, that they may keep the whole form of it, and all its ordinances, and do them. This is the law of the house. On the top of the mountain the whole limit around it shall be most holy. Behold, this is the law of the house. These are the measurements of the altar by cubits. The cubit is a cubit and a handwidth. The bottom shall be a cubit, and the width a cubit, and its border around its edge a span, and this shall be the base of the altar. From the bottom on the ground to the lower ledge shall be 2 cubits, and the width 1 cubit. And from the lesser ledge to the greater ledge shall be 4 cubits, and the width a cubit. The upper altar shall be 4 cubits, and from the altar hearth and upward there shall be 4 horns. The altar hearth shall be 12 cubits long by 12 wide, square in its 4 sides. The ledge shall be 14 cubits long by 14 wide in its 4 sides, and the border about it shall be half a cubit, and its bottom shall be a cubit around, and its steps shall look toward the east. He said to me, Son of man, the Lord Yahweh says, These are the ordinances of the altar in the day when they make it, to offer burnt offerings on it, and to sprinkle blood on it. You shall give to the Levitical priests who are of the offspring of Zadok, who are near to me, to minister to me, says the Lord Yahweh, a young bull for a sin offering. You shall take of its blood and put it on its 4 horns, and on the 4 corners of the ledge, and on the border all around. You shall cleanse it and make atonement for it that way. You shall also take the bull of the sin offering, and it shall be burned in the appointed place of the house, outside of the sanctuary. On the 2nd day you shall offer a male goat without defect for a sin offering, and they shall cleanse the altar, as they cleansed it with the bull. When you have finished cleansing it, you shall offer a young bull without defect, and a ram out of the flock without defect. You shall bring them near to Yahweh, and the priests shall cast salt on them, and they shall offer them up for a burnt offering to Yahweh. 7 days you shall prepare every day a goat for a sin offering. They shall also prepare a young bull and a ram out of the flock, without defect. 7 days shall they make atonement for the altar and purify it. So shall they consecrate it. When they have accomplished the days, it shall be that on the 8th day and onward, the priests shall make your burnt offerings on the altar and your peace offerings. Then I will accept you, says the Lord Yahweh. Ezekiel chapter 44. Then he brought me back by the way of the outer gate of the sanctuary, which looks toward the east. And it was shut. Yahweh said to me, This gate shall be shut. It shall not be opened, no man shall enter in by it. For Yahweh, the God of Israel, has entered in by it. Therefore it shall be shut. As for the prince, he shall sit in it as prince to eat bread before Yahweh. He shall enter by the way of the porch of the gate, and shall go out the same way. Then he brought me by the way of the north gate before the house. And I looked, and behold, Yahweh's glory filled Yahweh's house. So I fell on my face. Yahweh said to me, Son of man, mark well, and see with your eyes, and hear with your ears all that I tell you concerning all the ordinances of Yahweh's house and all its laws. And mark well the entrance of the house, with every exit of the sanctuary. You shall tell the rebellious, even the house of Israel, the Lord Yahweh says, You house of Israel, let that be enough of all your abominations, in that you have brought in foreigners, uncircumcised in heart and uncircumcised in flesh, to be in my sanctuary, to profane it, even my house, when you offer my bread, the fat and the blood. And they have broken my covenant, to add to all your abominations. You have not performed the duty of my holy things, but you have set performers of my duty in my sanctuary for yourselves. The Lord Yahweh says, No foreigner, uncircumcised in heart and uncircumcised in flesh, shall enter into my sanctuary, of any foreigners who are among the children of Israel. But the Levites who went far from me when Israel went astray, who went astray from me after their idols, they will bear their iniquity. Yet they shall be ministers in my sanctuary, having oversight at the gates of the house, and ministering in the house. They shall kill the burnt offering and the sacrifice for the people, and they shall stand before them to minister to them, because they ministered to them before their idols, and became a stumbling block of iniquity to the house of Israel. Therefore I have lifted up my hand against them, says the Lord Yahweh, and they will bear their iniquity. They shall not come near to me to execute the office of priest to me, nor to come near to any of my holy things, to the things that are most holy. But they will bear their shame and their abominations, which they have committed. Yet I will make them performers of the duty of the house, for all its service and for all that will be done therein. But the Levitical priests, the sons of Zadok, who performed the duty of my sanctuary when the children of Israel went astray from me, shall come near to me to minister to me. They shall stand before me to offer to me the fat and the blood, says the Lord Yahweh. They shall enter into my sanctuary, and they shall come near to my table to minister to me, and they shall keep my instruction. It will be that when they enter in at the gates of the inner court, they shall be clothed with linen garments. No wool shall come on them while they minister in the gates of the inner court and within. They shall have linen turbans on their heads, and shall have linen trousers on their waists. They shall not clothe themselves with anything that makes them sweat. When they go out into the outer court, even into the outer court to the people, they shall put off their garments in which they minister, and lay them in the holy rooms. They shall put on other garments, that they not sanctify the people with their garments. They shall not shave their heads, or allow their locks to grow long. They shall only cut off the hair of their heads. None of the priests shall drink wine when they enter into the inner court. They shall not take for their wives a widow, or her who is put away. But they shall take virgins of the offspring of the house of Israel, or a widow who is the widow of a priest. They shall teach my people the difference between the holy and the common, and cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean. In a controversy they shall stand to judge. They shall judge it according to my ordinances. They shall keep my laws and my statutes in all my appointed feasts. They shall make my Sabbaths holy. They shall go in to no dead person to defile themselves. But for father, or for mother, or for son, or for daughter, for brother, or for sister who has had no husband, they may defile themselves. After he is cleansed, they shall reckon to him 7 days. In the day that he goes into the sanctuary, into the inner court, to minister in the sanctuary, he shall offer his sin offering, says the Lord Yahweh. They shall have an inheritance. I am their inheritance. And you shall give them no possession in Israel. I am their possession. They shall eat the meal offering and the sin offering and the trespass offering, and every devoted thing in Israel shall be theirs. The first of all, the first fruits of everything, and every offering of everything, of all your offerings, shall be for the priest. You shall also give to the priests the first of your dough, to cause a blessing to rest on your house. The priests shall not eat of anything that dies of itself or is torn, whether it is bird or animal. Ezekiel chapter 45. Moreover, when you divide by lot the land for inheritance, you shall offer an offering to Yahweh, a holy portion of the land. The length shall be the length of 25,000 reeds, and the width shall be 10,000. It shall be holy in all its border all around. Of this there shall be a 500 by 500 square for the holy place, and 50 cubits for its pasture lands all around. Of this measure you shall measure a length of 25,000 and a width of 10,000. In it shall be the sanctuary which is most holy. It is a holy portion of the land. It shall be for the priests, the ministers of the sanctuary, who come near to minister to Yahweh. It shall be a place for their houses, and a holy place for the sanctuary. 25,000 cubits in length, and 10,000 in width shall be for the Levites, the ministers of the house, as a possession for themselves, for 20 rooms. You shall appoint the possession of the city 5,000 cubits wide, and 25,000 long, side by side with the offering of the holy portion. it shall be for the whole house of Israel. What is for the prince shall be on the one side and on the other side of the holy allotment and of the possession of the city, in front of the holy allotment and in front of the possession of the city, on the west side westward and on the east side eastward, and in length corresponding to one of the portions. From the west border to the east border, in the land it shall be to him for a possession in Israel. My princes shall no more oppress my people, but they shall give the land to the house of Israel according to their tribes. The Lord Yahweh says, Enough you, princes of Israel. Remove violence and plunder, and execute justice and righteousness. Stop dispossessing my people, says the Lord Yahweh. You shall have just balances, a just ephah and a just bath. The ephah and the bath shall be of one measure, that the bath may contain 1/10 of a homer, and the ephah 1/10 of a homer. Its measure shall be the same as the homer. The shekel shall be 20 gerahs. 20 shekels plus 25 shekels plus 15 shekels shall be your mina. This is the offering that you shall offer, the 6th part of an ephah from a homer of wheat, and you shall give the 6th part of an ephah from a homer of barley, and the set portion of oil, of the bath of oil, 1/10 of a bath out of the core, which is 10 baths, even a homer, for 10 baths are a homer, and 1 lamb of the flock out of 200, from the well-watered pastures of Israel, for a meal offering, for a burnt offering, and for peace offerings, to make atonement for them, says the Lord Yahweh. All the people of the land shall give to this offering for the prince in Israel. It shall be the prince's part to give the burnt offerings, the meal offerings and the drink offerings, in the feasts, and on the new moons, and on the Sabbaths. In all the appointed feasts of the house of Israel, he shall prepare the sin offering, the meal offering, the burnt offering, and the peace offerings, to make atonement for the house of Israel. The Lord Yahweh says, In the 1st month, on the 1st day of the month, you shall take a young bull without defect, and you shall cleanse the sanctuary. The priest shall take of the blood of the sin offering, and put it on the doorposts of the house, and on the 4 corners of the ledge of the altar, and on the posts of the gate of the inner court. So you shall do on the 7th day of the month for everyone who errs, and for him who is simple. So you shall make atonement for the house. In the 1st month, on the 14th day of the month, you shall have the Passover, a feast of 7 days. Unleavened bread shall be eaten. On that day the prince shall prepare for himself and for all the people of the land a bull for a sin offering. The 7 days of the feast he shall prepare a burnt offering to Yahweh, 7 bulls and 7 rams without defect daily the 7 days, and a male goat daily for a sin offering. He shall prepare a meal offering, an ephah for a bull, an ephah for a ram, and a hin of oil to an ephah. In the 7th month, on the 15th day of the month during the feast, he shall do like that for 7 days. He shall make the same provision for sin offering, the burnt offering, the meal offering, and the oil. Ezekiel chapter 46. The Lord Yahweh says, The gate of the inner court that looks toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days, but on the Sabbath day it shall be opened, and on the day of the new moon it shall be opened. The prince shall enter by the way of the porch of the gate outside, and shall stand by the post of the gate. And the priests shall prepare his burnt offering and his peace offerings, and he shall worship at the threshold of the gate. Then he shall go out, but the gate shall not be shut until the evening. The people of the land shall worship at the door of that gate before Yahweh on the Sabbaths and on the new moons. The burnt offering that the prince shall offer to Yahweh shall be on the Sabbath day, 6 lambs without defect, and a ram without defect. And the meal offering shall be an ephah for the ram, and the meal offering for the lambs as he is able to give, and a hin of oil to an ephah. On the day of the new moon it shall be a young bull without defect, 6 lambs, and a ram. They shall be without defect. He shall prepare a meal offering, an ephah for the bull, and an ephah for the ram, and for the lambs according as he is able, and a hin of oil to an ephah. When the prince enters, he shall go in by the way of the porch of the gate, and he shall go out by its way. But when the people of the land come before Yahweh in the appointed feasts, he who enters by the way of the north gate to worship shall go out by the way of the south gate. And he who enters by the way of the south gate shall go out by the way of the north gate. He shall not return by the way of the gate by which he came in, but shall go out straight before him. The prince shall go in with them when they go in. When they go out, he shall go out. In the feasts and in the appointed holidays, the meal offering shall be an ephah for a bull, and an ephah for a ram, and for the lambs as he is able to give, and a hin of oil to an ephah. When the prince prepares a free will offering, a burnt offering or peace offerings as a free will offering to Yahweh, one shall open for him the gate that looks toward the east, and he shall prepare his burnt offering and his peace offerings, as he does on the Sabbath day. Then he shall go out, and after his going out one shall shut the gate. You shall prepare a lamb a year old without defect for a burnt offering to Yahweh daily. Morning by morning you shall prepare it. You shall prepare a meal offering with it morning by morning, the 1/6 part of an ephah, and the 1/3 part of a hin of oil to moisten the fine flour, a meal offering to Yahweh continually by a perpetual ordinance. Thus they shall prepare the lamb, the meal offering, and the oil, morning by morning, for a continual burnt offering. The Lord Yahweh says, if the prince gives a gift to any of his sons, it is his inheritance. It shall belong to his sons. It is their possession by inheritance. But if he gives of his inheritance a gift to one of his servants, it shall be his to the year of liberty. Then it shall return to the prince. But as for his inheritance, it shall be for his sons. Moreover, the prince shall not take of the people's inheritance to thrust them out of their possession. He shall give inheritance to his sons out of his own possession, that my people not each be scattered from his possession. Then he brought me through the entry, which was at the side of the gate, into the holy rooms for the priests, which looked toward the north. Behold, there was a place on the back part westward. He said to me, this is the place where the priests shall boil the trespass offering and the sin offering, and where they shall bake the meal offering, that they not bring them out into the outer court, to sanctify the people. Then he brought me out into the outer court, and caused me to pass by the 4 corners of the court. And behold, in every corner of the court there was a court. In the 4 corners of the court there were courts enclosed, 40 cubits long and 30 wide. These 4 in the corners were the same size. There was a wall around in them, around the 4, and boiling places were made under the walls all around. Then he said to me, these are the boiling houses, where the ministers of the house shall boil the sacrifice of the people. Ezekiel chapter 47. He brought me back to the door of the temple, and behold, waters flowed out from under the threshold of the temple eastward, for the front of the temple faced toward the east. The waters came down from underneath, from the right side of the temple, on the south of the altar. Then he brought me out by the way of the gate northward, and led me around by the way outside to the outer gate, by the way of the gate that looks toward the east. Behold, waters ran out on the right side. When the man went out eastward with the line in his hand, he measured 1,000 cubits, and he caused me to pass through the waters, waters that were to the ankles. Again he measured 1,000, and caused me to pass through the waters, waters that were to the knees. Again he measured 1,000, and caused me to pass through waters that were to the waist. Afterward he measured 1,000, and it was a river that I could not pass through, for the waters had risen, waters to swim in, a river that could not be walked through. He said to me, Son of man, have you seen this? Then he brought me and caused me to return to the bank of the river. Now, when I had returned, behold, on the bank of the river were very many trees on the one side and on the other. Then he said to me, These waters flow out toward the eastern region, and will go down into the Arabah. Then they will go toward the sea, and flow into the sea, which will be made to flow out. And the waters will be healed. It will happen that every living creature which swarms in every place where the rivers come will live. Then there will be a very great multitude of fish, for these waters have come there, and the waters of the sea will be healed, and everything will live wherever the river comes. It will happen that fishermen will stand by it. From En-gedi even to En-eglaim will be a place for the spreading of nets. Their fish will be after their kinds, as the fish of the great sea, exceedingly many. But its swamps and marshes will not be healed. They will be given up to salt. By the river banks on both sides will grow every tree for food, whose leaf won't wither, neither will its fruit fail. It will produce new fruit every month, because its waters issue out of the sanctuary. Its fruit will be for food, and its leaf for healing. The Lord Yahweh says, "This shall be the border by which you shall divide the land for inheritance, according to the 12 tribes of Israel. Joseph shall have 2 portions. You shall inherit it, one as well as another, for I swore to give it to your fathers. This land will fall to you for inheritance. This shall be the border of the land. On the north side, from the great sea, by the way of Hethlon, to the entrance of Zedad, Hamath, Beratha, Sibraim, which is between the border of Damascus and the border of Hamath, to Hazar Hattikon, which is by the border of Horan. The border from the sea shall be Hazar Enon at the border of Damascus, and on the northward is the border of Hamath. This is the north side. The east side, between Horan, Damascus, Gilead, and the land of Israel, shall be the Jordan. From the north border to the east sea you shall measure. This is the east side. The south side southward shall be from Tamar as far as the waters of Meriboth Kadesh, to the brook, to the great sea. This is the south side southward. The west side shall be the great sea, from the south border as far as opposite the entrance of Hamath. This is the west side. So you shall divide this land to yourselves according to the tribes of Israel. You shall divide it by lot for an inheritance to you and to the aliens who live among you, who will father children among you. Then they shall be to you as the native-born among the children of Israel. They shall have inheritance with you among the tribes of Israel. In whatever tribe the stranger lives, there you shall give him his inheritance, says the Lord Yahweh. Ezekiel chapter 48. He brought me back to the door of the temple, and behold, waters flowed out from under the threshold of the temple eastward, for the front of the temple faced toward the east. The waters came down from underneath, from the right side of the temple, on the south of the altar. Then he brought me out by the way of the gate northward, and led me around by the way outside to the outer gate, by the way of the gate that looks toward the east. Behold, waters ran out on the right side. When the man went out eastward with the line in his hand, he measured 1,000 cubits, and he caused me to pass through the waters, waters that were to the ankles. Again he measured 1,000, and caused me to pass through the waters, waters that were to the knees. Again he measured 1,000, and caused me to pass through waters that were to the waist. Afterward he measured 1,000, and it was a river that I could not pass through, for the waters had risen, waters to swim in, a river that could not be walked through. He said to me, Son of man, have you seen this? Then he brought me and caused me to return to the bank of the river. Now, when I had returned, behold, on the bank of the river were very many trees on the one side and on the other. Then he said to me, These waters flow out toward the eastern region, and will go down into the Arabah. Then they will go toward the sea, and flow into the sea which will be made to flow out. And the waters will be healed. It will happen that every living creature which swarms in every place where the rivers come will live. Then there will be a very great multitude of fish. For these waters have come there, and the waters of the sea will be healed, and everything will live wherever the river comes. It will happen that fishermen will stand by it. From En-gedi even to En-eglaim will be a place for the spreading of nets. Their fish will be after their kinds, as the fish of the great sea, exceedingly many. But its swamps and marshes will not be healed. They will be given up to salt. By the riverbanks on both sides will grow every tree for food, whose leaf won't wither, neither will its fruit fail. It will produce new fruit every month, because its waters issue out of the sanctuary. Its fruit will be for food, and its leaf for healing. The Lord Yahweh says, "This shall be the border by which you shall divide the land for inheritance, according to the 12 tribes of Israel. Joseph shall have 2 portions. You shall inherit it one as well as another. For I swore to give it to your fathers. This land will fall to you for inheritance. This shall be the border of the land, on the north side from the great sea by the way of Hethlon to the entrance of Zedad. Hamath, Berotha, Sibraim, which is between the border of Damascus and the border of Hamath, to Hazar Hattikon, which is by the border of Hauran. The border from the sea shall be Hazar Enon at the border of Damascus, and on the northward is the border of Hamath. This is the north side. The east side between Horan, Damascus, Gilead, and the land of Israel shall be the Jordan. From the north border to the east sea you shall measure. This is the east side. The south side southward shall be from Tamar as far as the waters of Meribboth Kadesh, to the brook, to the great sea. This is the south side southward. The west side shall be the great sea, from the south border as far as opposite the entrance of Hamath. This is the west side. So you shall divide this land to yourselves according to the tribes of Israel. You shall divide it by lot for an inheritance to you, and to the aliens who live among you, who will father children among you. Then they shall be to you as the native born among the children of Israel. They shall have inheritance with you among the tribes of Israel. In whatever tribe the stranger lives, there you shall give him his inheritance, says the Lord Yahweh. And that concludes the book of Ezekiel, chapters of visions and prophecies. From the valley of dry bones to God's glory returning to the temple, Ezekiel ends with hope. The Lord is there. May you experience God's transforming presence and know that He dwells with His people. Subscribe to continue. God bless you.